Okay. Yeah, so, I still try to maintain a relationship with my little sister and my mom being a few hours away. And, being away from the situation kind of lulled me into this idea of, well, I talked to my mom on the phone and, oh, um, going back, another important point to mention is that I was left with just a lot of confusion about this relationship with my mom because she would give you these birthday cards and Christmas cards that just, displayed all her love for you and just said all these nice things about you. And she's like, I love you so much. And honestly, that confused me. I used to be so confused and I would cry and I'd be like, she does love me. Like, see, it's in my card, but I don't understand why she only shows that once or twice a year. And I was so confused and I just didn't understand. Anyway, fast forward. So I tried to maintain a relationship with my mom on the phone, and it kind of lulled me into this, like, oh, our relationship's good because it's good on the phone. And, I would take off holidays and go home and try to spend them with them. And, like, I desperately still wanted to be the fixer in my family. Like, just family come together, like, let's just try to be a family. And I try to go home on holidays and spend time, but kind of a disaster. Like, my little sister was moving into high school at that time, finding her own friends, and definitely was like, I don't like this situation either, and I don't blame her, but she just, moved into a circle of friends and didn't really want to maintain a relationship, so it felt like. And so I was putting in this effort to go home on holidays, and so excited to see, and then she didn't want to spend time with us. Like, and just being so heartbroken. Like, I want us so much to be a family, and nobody wants to be a family, and nobody wants to change, and nobody wants to work anything out, and just feeling like you have nobody in the world, feeling like you have nobody at all. Like, it's just been something I've believed for so long. Like, I just have nobody. Like, no family, you just feel like an orphan. You just feel like unwanted and unloved and unwanted by the very people who are supposed to love you. Like, that is just so frustrating to me. And growing up, I talked a little bit about God. Like, we were brought to church, a very small church, and nothing against this church, but it had a lot of older people, and I learned a little bit there, but I just pretty much felt like religion was used as a weapon in our house. Like, you need to obey because it says you need to obey your parents. And it was just used as a force to control us. And, more adding to my idea of God, this God who wants to control you, who's angry and is ready to just turn their back on you at any minute and is distant and doesn't really want a relationship. Like, so when I moved to Seattle, I was in a church, and I learned a lot about God there, and I met a lot of great people, and I was so thankful for that time because they had small groups where you could connect with people, and in a lot of ways, I needed that so bad, just that community that I've never had. And I've heard this so much, like, the church can be your family, and we have a spiritual family, and our family is not always our physical family. And I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want it to be that way. Like, I want my own family, and I would be so jealous. So jealous. Why does that person get a dad? Why does that person have a mom? Why does that person have a great relationship with their siblings? Why? Why do they get love and I don't, God? What's wrong with me? Why can't I have that? Why can't I? How come some people have it and some people don't? And how come I'm the one that doesn't? Like, you just feel more unloved. I don't even know how to explain it. And I was definitely growing there during that time. I could actually articulate what believing in Jesus meant. Like, growing up, it's like, oh, Jesus dies for your sins. Okay. But to actually, like, and it's, that saying that says rules without a relationship equals rebellion. Like, I very much identify with that statement in my family. And I very much identified with that with Christianity and God. Like, is the Bible just a bunch of rules? Is it just a rule and no relationship? Like, who wants that? No, nobody wants that. But, relationship with Jesus is so much more than that. It's so much more than that. It's a relationship. Like, God has helped me so much to deal with just all the pain and hurt in my life, and to say, and I didn't even want to share my story. I was like, I'm not sharing my story until I can see the light in my story. I don't want to share my story until I can see the good out of it. Like, I just don't see how it's